Hello, I'm Shane Adam Bassett, Sky News Australia. Pleased to meet you.
Pleased to meet you. What time is it where you are?
Look, I've been going for the last hour and a half, and it's still only 25 past 4 in the morning.
Oh my God.
I started at 3 o'clock, so you're my last interview, but
And then you can go to sleep or not.
no,
Wow.
I'm actually live on air on radio around Australia in 45 minutes, so it's
Okay,
all
so
good.
you're used to a nuts set schedule, but I'm using up your time. I'm going to shut up. I'm so interested though.
Oh, Dadra, is that how I pronounce your name?
Deirdre, you can just call me Dee Dee.
Dee, lovely
Yeah,
to meet
just call me
you.
Dee Dee.
Your career has been so established and you've been such a wonderful actor for such a long period. But I mean, now you're part of the DC universe and this character. I mean, how did you get the role? Were you handpicked or was it something you fell into?
I think, Craig Zobel. Craig Zobel. He and I knew each other. I had worked on an episode of his show, $1.
Yep.
We loved each other instantly from that. Was his huge fan, and then he found me, and I think he's the one that convinced everyone that it was even a good idea at all. So I didn't know anybody but him when I started, when I got involved. But I knew that I was crazy about him and the idea of him. I don't know if you know his work, but
Yeah.
his body of work and the idea of this universe, this crazy epic Baroque aesthetic with
Yeah.
his sort of lived in earthy kind of the kind of work that I knew him for and that I had done with him. The idea
Yeah.
of the combination of that was so interesting to me. The idea that he wanted to take that leap into this
Yeah.
kind of epic world. I was like, if you will hold my hand, I'll leap with you. So it was him. He found me, and whatever magic he pulled with the big guys, I don't know about it. I don't want to know about it. He pulled off some magic, and so I got the part.
Well, I know everybody's work. I knew him from The Hunt. He directed Craig had directed such a great movie with The Hunt, and you from Fearless and Cool World. So I'm aware of your work, and I think Francis Cobb is such a step up. Did you read the script and just go, "How am I going to do this?" Or did you have something in mind straight away?
It was layered. There were a lot of layers of
Yeah,
understanding it. The writing was crystal clear on the page. I knew that she was a great part and an interesting part, and I could feel the spirit of her, I think, right away. But I wasn't sure of that. You don't know that you're right about something. So it's kind of it gradually got built through work with the designers, through work with the dialect coach who had so I kind of knew that I had to fit into this family. I had to become the mother of a very well established and beautifully portrayed character I had seen Batman and knew that I
yeah,
loved what Colin did in
yeah.
that, and that I couldn't believe it was him, and that I was in love with that guy, and that it was just a spark was lit, and I thought, oh, whatever lightning rod he's touching, if I touch him, maybe that
Yeah.
electricity will
Oh
get
well.
to have it too. But then there was a lot of layers of homework that kind of
Mm,
built up to, oh, okay, here she is.
mm. Were you working with Colin or working with Oz? Who were you acting opposite?
Uh, I mean, I saw Colin for 10 minutes at a meeting to say, hello, hello, who are you? Hi, nice to meet you. And was duly intimidated by his beauty and the fact that I was this huge fan, and he's
Yep.
an extremely charming person, and felt like, how am I going to do this? I'm so tremulous around. I'm not a person who's just like movie stars, movie stars. I
Of
get
course,
a certain amount of tension around that. But as soon as he walked on set as Oz, it was as if there was another completely other human that I was working with. It was like this amazing big character guy who had gotten this great job playing the Penguin, or the grip was wearing a suit. I wasn't sure what was going on, but I never had to deal with that sort of intimidation factor of being with being opposite
that's
Colin.
good.
I was always with Oz. And then I met Colin again today or yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Literally, we were never in a room together where he wasn't completely in his prosthetic. So I was always just hooked up with him. with Oz.
Does that elevate your acting when you are acting opposite someone of that stature in a totally different, zone, basically?
It's so specific to this because it has so much to do with that amazing prosthetic, and that's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
center of it's like that prosthetic, that what Mike made with that. How can you make any piece of art worthy of that? And this
yeah,
explosion of 8 hours of television is kind of our effort to answer that question, I feel like.
yeah,
So it all starts with that. With different people, different stuff. Some people you never get used to. Some people you have immediate camaraderie with, and you feel like, oh my God, this is no problem at all. And some people you're never quite, you never quite get your
yeah.
footing under you with. It's a funny thing that where you know them so well and they don't know you at all. It's like an odd little leap you got to do back and forth.
Well, to wrap it up, did you bring any of your own traits? Because as you say, there was layers to Francis, but I saw a lot of emotion. I mean, I've seen the first four episodes, and I see nothing but emotion.
There's a lot of emotion. I mean, that's a really hard question for me to answer. I'm sure I did. I wasn't thinking about it that way. I
Yeah,
did. It did feel like a leap into this lady and a leap into this state that she was in. But I had done a lot of thinking about it, and I'm like so many people, unfortunately, know a lot about that disease because of personal experience, and
sure, yeah.
so but I think I did in some ways, but I resisted it. I loved having this character to get my claws into. And then sometimes when I would realize like, oh, it's so close to me, I would be like, ah. But I think it was. It can't help but be, right?
Oh, of course, of course. And thank you, Dee. Lovely to meet you. You've got an Australian connection, of course. Peter Weir,
I
director
mean,
of
what
Fearless.
an amazing, great experience to get to be with him and his crew, just to be
Yeah,
with people who have been together for so long and are so committed to telling these stories with him. It was really quite one of the things I'll never forget is getting to work with him.
and a Warner Brothers film. So, there you go.
Yeah.